Transported to an alternate universe, 4 young outsiders gain superhuman powers as they alter their physical form in shocking ways. Reed Richards becomes Mr. Fantastic, able to stretch and twist his body at will, while pale Ben Grimm gains immense strength as the Thing. Johnny Storm becomes the Human Torch, able to control and project fire, while his sister Sue becomes the Invisible Woman. Together, the team must harness their new abilities to prevent Doctor Doom from destroying the Earth. Today we discuss 2015's Fantastic Four reboot. Unqualified morons and microphones. This is the previously recorded podcast. So that was a synopsis. I am your host RP as always, and welcome back to this episode of Previously Recorded. Yeah. So that just described who the Fantastic Four are. That didn't really describe what the movie is. And we'll get into what the movie actually is. Doing so, I need my fabulous 2 co-hosts. No, nay, not fantastic. Fabulous co-hosts, Shane and Bob. What, nay?
Say that again?
No.
Oh. That just cuts. It's over.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
Shane and Bob, guys, welcome back to this fantastic podcast. How are you?
That was the most... I don't care how I am right now. I've done a lot of episodes with you, including Elektra. That was the most that the intro has ever sounded like someone had died.
Like I'm coming to tell you, this is the last episode.
Yeah, like
one of my co-hosts
like
has
a
died.
tragedy had struck.
Yeah, and it has. It's called.
No, Elektra was worse, and you were, but I think you were just fired up to talk about how bad Elektra was.
Elektra was worse. It absolutely was worse. It's a horrible movie. It's the worst movie I've ever seen.
Elektra's so bad, it's talk aboutable. I just made that word up. I don't talk aboutable.
It's shoe
eating worthy.
That is a movie that Bob has staked his whole reputation on. That if he sees a movie that is worse than that, he has to eat a shoe.
In this rewatch, you keep saying that in like a grand scheme. I said in the rewatch.
Go back and listen to that episode. There may have been some snips. I'm just kidding. I nothing is doctored. But joining us today, who didn't have to sit through Elektra, is Shane. Shane, welcome back, bud. It's been some time. The fans have been clamoring. Our inbox has been filled with plenty of message about you and wanting you back.
It's honestly,
that was actually me from my burner account.
Yeah, just that one message.
Yeah. It was from the account Shane Lover 69.
Hey,
right?
And it said, "Hey RP, it's Shane. Have you forgotten about me?"
It said, "Hey guys, am I gonna get invited to one of these things or
That's
what?"
what he said. He said, "Am I even the third host anymore?"
I sent you my schedule. It was wide open.
Yeah, we're blocked.
He quit his job as a senator because he thought it was costing his job.
It was weird though. My message wouldn't go through. It was like my number was blocked or something weird. I don't know.
Anyway, today we're here to talk about. We can't.
That's a fantastic dilemma, but let's talk about this movie instead.
Yeah, let's talk about this thing.
Nice. Before we do that, I do want to acknowledge that after watching this movie, knowing that we were recording, I made the conscious decision to grab as a beer to drink a Labatt Blue Light that has just been getting warmer and colder and warmer and colder since St. Patrick's Day.
So it's going through some metamorphosis change.
Yeah, it's Pepe Le Pew. That's what it's as skunked as a beer is ever gonna get.
So it's a thing.
I hope that beer's not doomed.
Well, okay, Dr. Doom.
Yeah, okay, Dr. Doom.
God, this fucking movie.
All right.
So
off with the beer.
Onward and upwards, right?
It can't be bad.
This
movie can't be worse than this movie was.
I'm regretting giving this its own episode because I could have easily shoehorned this into the. You all right,
It's not
Bob?
good. I think my jaw locked up a little bit last time. I'll finish it. I'll get it down.
Well, those Edmonton Oilers. This is months after, but the Edmonton Oilers lost, so nothing from Canada is happy, right?
Yeah, I mean the 4-month holdover before I drank it probably doesn't help either.
Paul holdover.
Paul,
Callbacks.
Yeah, nice.
We're back in the original recording studio.
Where we ranked this movie as the worst superhero movie.
Yeah, this episode had this movie has some history with this show. Our second
This is
episode
Miles
ever.
Teller, the Miles Teller hate club. began.
Deserved.
It's in my notes. Don't worry about it.
We'll get to that, guys. Yeah, so no, we the first ever episode I tricked the guys into doing right after we did a top 5 worst superhero movies of all time, and I ranked this as my number 1. It sucks. It's bad.
Yeah, it's not good. I wish I could have kept my streak of never watching it, but
You just had to come back.
things I do for the fans.
So what happened? So what happened was it was either this or X-Men Apocalypse, and I said to the guys, I said, technically this is up next, but you guys can pick this or Fantastic Four, and they chose to do this.
Well, I had never seen it, and I really just didn't want to rewatch
Neither had
Apocalypse.
I. So
I had no interest in rewatching
we both knew that Apocalypse stunk.
And
So
and
like,
it's a much longer movie.
I'd rather watch
is.
a new stinky movie.
Yeah, stinky is such a good word. So that being said, you guys said let's watch Fantastic Four. Again, it is an hour 40-minute
Quick
turd
watch.
pile.
Ish.
It was
It
the
still took me
longest.
3
It was
times.
the
Three
longest
trips.
hour and 40 minutes of my life.
It was a very long hour 40
That
minutes.
was awful.
So when you guys picked that, my response to you guys was, do you remember?
Fantastic.
No.
No, I think you like best of luck, Godspeed. something
No,
like
I
that.
said, all right, you load the revolver.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. Something along the lines.
Because I was like, you guys can pick, and I said,
as if it was deadly. I
Yeah.
remembered that.
but yeah,
Speaking
no.
of deadly, cheers.
Cheers. So, guys, to bring the mood up, because it's currently down, because this movie sucks, and it's my fault. Anything to share? Anything to share? Anything new going on? Anything fantastic? Nope. All right.
No.
No,
Moving
actually, no. Before we get to this, I have
Few
a-
not fantastic things, but not
I have a
nothing
completely
fantastic.
other. This has nothing to do with anything. People are going
Like
to
this
probably
movie.
trash me for this. I don't know if I asked you this question. Have you seen Streetcar Named Desire?
I have.
Have you?
No.
So I read the play,
Yes, you
watched
have.
the movie.
It's on
You
school.
I would say you watched it in school. Yeah, but we
Yes.
did have this conversation already.
That's Marlon Brando, Stella, right?
Yeah. I don't get it. Just watched it recently for the first time. Read it for the first time. I don't get it. I don't get the hype. So that's what
That's your desire?
what I want to talk about instead. Yeah.
Okay.
Is it worse than Elektra?
No.
Oh, damn.
And also on
Is it worse than this?
on Letterboxd, it's better than this.
I'll put my shoe back on then. You don't have
Because
to-
there were actually on Letterboxd, I think they might have been about equal. I gotta go back and
Really?
look and see what it did. Yeah, Streetcar. I did not like Streetcar, but Streetcar like I got. So you're gonna do all the other stuff before. So let's just put it this way: Streetcar was consistently okay. Like, why is this happening? Like, who cares?
Yeah.
I get everything that happened. Don't get me wrong.
Sure.
I just didn't care.
Yeah.
This was like for a couple 45 minutes or so. I was like, all right, this can go places. This can do things. And then it was like, psych. We're not doing that.
So, I'm sorry to hear that Streetcar Named Desire.
Streetcar was
wasn't
a 2.
good.
This was a
This
1.5.
movie-
I gave Streetcar Named Desire a 2. It's like a top 50.
I'm sorry the movie from 50 years ago wasn't good.
Yeah. Thanks, man.
So the way we start every episode...
Madam Web got a 1 for the record.
Madame Web? The way we start every episode is your history, kind of what you like, what you didn't like, blah, blah, blah. So we've been doing it with the X-Men, but since this is an X-Men property, obviously it's Fantastic Four. I had talked about my history with the Fantastic Four on our episode covering the original 2 movies of the Fantastic Four. But what is your guys' history with the Fantastic Four? Like, have you only known them through video games, through the original movies, comics, things of that? Like, Shane, like what about you? Is it just the original Tim Story films?
Pretty much nothing. Yeah, just the original movies. I haven't really read any Fantastic Four. I have a bunch that you recommended that I have saved. I've been trying to read a lot of Doom stuff just because he's cool, but I'm not really finding a lot of stuff. I just read the God Emperor Doom shit, which was really cool.
Dune?
Yeah.
God Emperor Dune?
Doom.
Dune.
Victor.
Brings everything back to Dune.
It's a Dune podcast.
Yeah, but so those
This
those
episode brought to you by Spice.
those comics were really cool. I want to read some more Fantastic Four stuff eventually. I'm just there's just a lot.
Recommend starting with the Mark Miller stuff.
Yeah, I think you
Mark
gave.
Miller's stuff's good.
I think that's what you gave me that I have saved.
Yep, that's where I started. I didn't like the
I don't-
slot stuff.
I don't recommend, but I know that the Hickman stuff's good. It's just so fucking convoluted.
I read some of Hickman's Fantastic Four when I started reading, because this is, in the other episode I shared, and I'll just give you guys like a quick summary because you guys weren't there for that episode, that like when they kind of announced that they were going to redo the Fantastic Four, I got the Marvel Unlimited subscription and I just started reading a shit ton because
just recently. Like the most
2
recent
years
we're
ago.
going to do. I'm saying like not this one.
Yeah, no,
when
not
they
this
like
one.
after the fact we're going to do. Okay.
Yep, when they said that the MCU is going to do it, and I was like, I want to dive into it, and I now love the Fantastic Four. I love Mark Miller's run. I read some of the Hickman stuff, and immediately I did like it, but it was confusing, so I moved off it. Fun fact, I'm now reading Hickman's X-Men.
So, so Hickman is like, this is why I don't like Hickman.
He's the
like,
Scott Snyder.
Exactly. Hickman's run goes for 7 years over the course of 4 different titles that you don't even realize are like related to each other, and then it all comes together. And I believe in the Fantastic Four case in Infinity is like the big like finale, which was this like gigantic event.
Really good. I didn't read them because that all leads into like New Avengers,
and then
New Avengers,
it continues after that. But like that was like the big like payoff for a lot of this stuff. So I read Infinity, I think, when I first started reading comics. Just like saw it. It was like a big book. Fun fact, I stole it. And then it was like good, but I was just really confused for a lot of it.
Yeah.
So then I was like, let me go back and read some Hickman stuff, and it didn't help. So I like have kind of shied away from Hickman in my comic book reading since, because I'm like, I just don't have the patience, I think, for the payoff that he will eventually give, because it's just like 5 years before, and then this guy, this character from 5 years ago shows up and is like, aha!
Yeah.
And I'm like, I forgot you fucking existed, man.
That's how I was reading New Avengers, because I finished my Fantastic Four run of where I was enjoying it, and which was a lot of issues. It was like 70 issues. It was really good stuff. And then I read the New Avengers because Hickman, and then I read Infinity, which I really liked, because that's what kind of inspired the Infinity War that we got. Like that's kind of the version of Thanos. So I for this, I kind of dove into it, and now I have just like a deep love of the Fantastic Four, and actually really enjoy the older movies a lot, because they're campy and they're fun. Like that Mark Miller run is, it's so good.
I read a lot of like Spider-Man and Daredevil and stuff like that, so they show up here and there. But
yeah, they do.
I haven't really read one of theirs.
Highly recommend it, because I love Marvel's First Family. I used to read Dan Slott's run on Fantastic Four. I jumped off. I didn't like it.
I feel like I read it for a little bit.
I didn't like it.
Fantastic Four is like X-Men. So I read it. I think I read Dan Slott's for like
where
20
there's just like
or
a
24
million
issues
where
that
you can
it's
read.
just like things are happening, but like there's so big of a history and there's so much stuff going on that's like it gets a little confusing, other than like something's happening and like this character comes out of nowhere and you're like, I don't fucking know who that is. So like as someone who's relatively new to comics, I've been reading them for
You're not doing
11
anymore.
years at this point, but as far as like the history of comics and like what people like there's people that like have been reading for so long, those are the two things, the two like titles, X-Men and Fantastic Four, that I've wanted to. It's Superman as well, but Superman I just can't like. It has nothing to do with like it being difficult. I just have tried to like Superman. I just don't. Where I've tried on so many occasions to like find a jumping on point, really get into them, because I like the characters in other mediums, and just like have a hard time doing it. Like they're rebooting X-Men.
Yep.
Over the summer, I'm going to try, probably after this comes out, but in general.
Yeah, they come out. It comes out in the beginning of July.
So I think the first one might be coming out right around then. I'm going to get them again. I'm going to try them. Yep. But it's going to be like a 3-4 issue. And that's maybe like the first run, give it a trial, and if I stay, I stay, and if not, I don't.
It's it's a launch from the Cocoa era, which is the like Hickman stuff.
It's a good jumping on point.
It's Jed McKay, who stuff's pretty good. McKay stuff's pretty good.
Well, there's an Uncanny, and then there's an X-Men.
I'm getting the 3, and there's 3.
I know, but I'm not doing the third because I don't care about most of the characters.
But yeah, no, that's why, and that's with that new run coming out. That's why I'm reading Hickman stuff now. So yeah,
Again, read those, tried to read those, and it was just like,
I I got I don't know, 20-ish issues into Powers and House of X.
Well, House of X and Powers of X only go 6 issues each, and then it goes into Dawn of
Then
X.
it's another X. Yeah, they just keep going.
And then, but then they spin off into their own
it was
series.
just, I don't know.
And
I wasn't into
and
it
that's
for
the
some
other
reason.
thing with Fantastic Four, not as bad. X-Men will be like, oh, but also, if you want to understand this, you need to read these 3 other titles. Like, hey, and now read these 4
Oh,
other
and read
things
this.
here.
Read this thing from the '60s.
See,
It's just like, no, because like as they're coming out, like you want to read. I feel like Fantastic Four did it at 1.2. I was like, all right, I'm done. You want to read Fantastic Four, that's cool, but you also have to read Doom at the same time, which comes out every other week, and then you have to read like this other comic, whatever it is, in order to understand what's happening in any of them. You have to read all 3 of them at the same time. So now your $4 comic becomes $12 a month if they're not bi-weekly, and I know that that's not like crazy, but like as somebody who doesn't
it adds up.
As somebody who doesn't do like the comics unlimited, like I like to have the physical medium, I'm like, I'm not buying all these.
I do that with the new stuff, real old stuff. I do the unlimited, and if it's not for the unlimited, I am not buying all those issues. I've learned that the hard way with Secret Wars when they did that.
Oh my god, yeah.
We were buying everything, and I was like, nope, I'm done. I'm reading just the stuff.
See, that's why I like Unlimited and DC.
Secret
Infinite.
Wars, is that on unlimited? That's a good
Yeah, I
Doom.
have that. I have that.
you
saved
read
too.
it? Yeah,
No, not
that's a
yet.
good Doom story.
And
But
Hickman, yeah.
I like using the apps because like I've bought comics before, and then I get halfway through it, I'm like, this sucks. But like I bought them all, so I got to read them.
So
But with the apps, I can just stop whenever I don't feel like reading anymore.
I've got to the point now where if I see like there's a run or there's something that I think I'm going to be interested in, but it's not like an ongoing series, I have a separate list of like, all right, that's a trade I'll buy at some point.
Support comic shops. They need us. They need us. Anyway, so that's kind of your guys' history with the Fantastic Four. Nothing super deep.
So mine is toys. Legitimately. It's like the weirdest. I wrote in my, because we always do that, so I wrote in my notes. That's the first thing I wrote. I was like, I have no real recollection of reading or watching or having any like real experience with the Fantastic Four that I can remember until the first movie with like Jessica Alba.
Yeah.
But like just by like osmosis, knew them, knew what they were like.
Was the Reed one like a Stretch Armstrong where you could like?
It's probably just
Stretch
plastic.
them.
No, it was plastic. It was just like weird. I didn't like Reed. It was the Thing and the Human Torch. Like those are the two that a little kid would play with.
Yeah.
A big rock thing, and I could just like.
How do you
throw
make
and shit.
a Sue toy cool? I mean, I guess she could like.
Probably glow in the dark?
Go in the dark,
I
transparent,
guess.
something like that.
Dude, it was the late '90s. If you made it glow in the dark, you were
cool.
fucking doing your job.
Are you guys familiar? Like, obviously, I'm pretty sure you guys both have seen the 2005 Jessica Alba one.
Yes, I can't recall a lot
Fantastic
from
Four?
the Silver Surfer one, but I
Yeah.
definitely have seen
You guys like that movie?
both of them.
I like the Silver Surfer. The rest of the movie was okay.
Silver Surfer sucked. That movie I hated, but the original one, I liked. I actually liked a lot. It's very
I feel
campy.
like I put it on recently.
It's very
Is
campy.
there a scene on the bridge?
Yep.
Right? Yeah,
that's where-
I watched
where
like a clip of it recently.
Where Sue has to get naked to be invisible to like get them
Ridiculous.
past.
Absolutely ridiculous.
Yes.
But it's so
I
unnecessary.
was watching a different version of that same scene.
It's very unnecessary. That's the one thing. But yeah, so I guess I'm the biggest Fantastic Four fan.
At this
I don't
point,
know.
probably. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. I'm so excited for.
Hey, congrats!
Thanks, man.
You earned that title.
There's not many things I get like that where I'm the biggest, except for Dune.
You guys want to talk about Dune instead of this
Yeah,
movie?
we can talk about Dune if you want.
I hate,
No,
hate this movie.
this movie sucks.
All right, peace.
So-
Let's talk. I got so much to talk about with Dune. I thought you never asked.
So,
different sheet.
favorite character?
From this movie or just
No,
in general?
just Fantastic Four in general.
Now or like
No.
all time. Honestly, it's still the Thing.
Yeah.
I don't know too much about them, to be honest. I like Johnny's relationship with Spider-Man, so probably...
So Johnny's like a
Torch.
dick. Even when he like tries to not be, he still is kind of like a dick because he's just like a hot guy. Like Chris Evans plays it good.
Chris Evans
Johnny
plays them
Storm.
very well.
And Reed is like a dick just because he's like too smart.
Yeah.
To like know how to speak to people, which is like a relatable. Like I'm not like I don't dislike Reed for that. He's just not gonna be like my favorite because he's kind of a dick. And then
Yeah.
Sue, I think is kind of like boring. I don't know why she would be. I wouldn't have her as my favorite.
Yeah, she's not my favorite either, but I think she's been downplayed in these movies, and I think she's very
Comics, though, I
cool.
think that she gets downplayed a little bit too. She's got really cool powers.
What I like about the comics is that she can kind of do anything, and you're like, yeah, that checks out.
That checks, yeah. But she like, well, also every comic I've read, she's like reverted to a mom role.
Some of
So
them.
like then that's kind of like, and there's nothing wrong with that, but it's just like, let her cook.
She's really powerful, isn't she?
She's super powerful. Yeah. And
Like,
that's why they should make her
well, I mean,
front center.
you even see it in this shithole movie. Like when she actually is like,
Yeah, because the Jessica Alba
Thing-
movies, she doesn't
Thing
really
Reed-
do much. I feel
No,
like.
she does.
like Ben and Reed would be dead if it wasn't for her.
Yeah.
A lot of the
Twice
time, yeah.
or 3 times.
Well, let's get into it then. We're here to discuss this piece of shit. Let's not delay it any further. So, Fantastic Four 2015 was released on August 7th, 2015, with a budget of $120 million. Where is this represented? Because it's not on
They
the screen.
built an actual, like all the stuff that they built in the movie. That's real.
Oh yeah, is that your inside scoop?
Yeah, Miles texted me this morning and told me that.
He said, hey, thanks. He's like, be nice to it.
Well,
Yeah,
all the
well, he knows we resurrected his career, so he's wanting.
all the actors were paid based off of their acting ability, which was terrible this movie. So they saved a lot of money on that budget.
So, how much do you think this movie made? Do you think it made a
$4.
Do you think-
I'm looking at the statistics, so this
Oh.
is a Shane question.
Okay. Do you think it made its budget
What
back?
was the budget?
120.
I think it made 80.
It made $167.9 million with an opening weekend of $25.7 million, which is the worst opening of all time for any superhero movie.
No,
No,
it's better.
Electra's got to be
It's better. You go to the next bullet.
not just super. That's right. Yeah, I made these notes so long ago. Not just superhero movie, but any comic book adaptation, including movies like Red, Two Guns, Hercules, The Green Hornet, and Alita: Battle Angel.
Being worse than Alita Battle Angel, it might be because I forgot that movie even happened.
They're making a second one.
That's great. If I had never watched it, I don't know if it's good or not. I just like forgot that movie
Yeah,
was
yeah.
even a thing.
But I made it was that bad I had to include this. So I don't even remember what. Do you remember what Elektra made opening
I
weekend?
can get it up real quick.
I think it
have
made total $3, but
Yeah, well, they were actually Electra lost money opening weekend. They had to pay people back.
so the critical response was 9% on Rotten Tomatoes. With
I
the
got it. 12.8
opening weekend.
opening weekend. So half of this. So that doesn't
So
make
that's-
any sense.
yeah, it's
so that
not-
statistic doesn't factor
That's weird.
unless they like deal with inflation
No, but even
twice as much. I don't know.
who knows? Okay, well,
Or maybe it's
they're-
like based on budget. Let me look at Electra's budget real fast.
so second worst opening of all time.
Yeah, Electra's budget was because it was a weird one where they didn't know exactly how much.
Yeah, yeah.
So the maximum was 57,
Okay.
and then they made 12.8.
So this is the biggest flop.
So yeah, so flop wise, this is like we spent a lot of money and we didn't make it back.
They did after marketing. Yeah, they didn't make it back. So the consensus for a 9% on Rotten Tomatoes was dull and downbeat. This Fantastic Four proves a woeful, misguided attempt to translate a classic comic series without the humor, joy, or colorful thrills that made it great. With a fan score of 18% on Rotten Tomato as well, I think that's probably accurate. Home release as of December 2018, the film had generated $13.4 million in DVD and Blu-ray sales. So it made more than Elektra's opening weekend.
You're a huge DVD Blu-ray guy just to have them.
Yeah. No, I don't.
Okay, I was curious if like this
I
was one
watched
of
this
those
on
like.
streaming.
Well, I'm saying initially you saw it in theaters.
Yeah.
You did. You're the only one that saw it in theaters out of
Yes. Which I guess I don't remember if we. Yeah, I haven't talked about it. So I did see this opening weekend. I went Thursday night because my dad wanted to go, and I worked at AMC, so it was free.
What
that was when you were
did
there?
your dad
Okay.
think of this movie?
What do you think he thinks?
He probably thought it was,
That was
great.
pretty good.
He liked it. Yeah. So did
But like
my wife.
that's what Bob says. It's pretty good.
He says,
like-
and then what he says every time is, "I'm distracted for 2 hours, and I'm having a good time."
Yeah.
This movie's a piece of
He
shit.
liked it because he was spending time with his son. Like it's like a cats in the cradle type situation for your dad.
but I was-
He had no idea what was going on that screen.
But then I was sitting next to him the whole time, going, "Oh no, oh
yeah,
no, oh no."
don't do this.
So there's a fun fact about this. So I worked at AMC, And this is when the Woodhaven movie theater had just reopened with the recliners and everything. And they said, okay, we're going to pick a movie, and you can bring your family and friends. We'll do a free screening. They showed this. I said, don't do it. I said, show anything else. My manager's like, nah, it's fine. But he's a piece of shit.
And this is before you'd seen it, or you'd seen it already.
I'd seen it.
No, this is like right after. Okay.
And I said, he's a piece of shit, so like it doesn't matter. But he's like, nah, we're gonna do it anyway. You know, people want to see it. I'm like, I'm telling you, don't. It's bad. The next shift I came in, he said, RP, you were right. That was a bad movie. And I said, I fucking told you, the movie sucked. So the production of the movie, so the history of the Fantastic Four is itself, which I haven't really talked to you guys about. It's crazy. There was a movie that was made just to keep the rights, and they never released it. And if it got out, the Fantastic Four we know today may have never existed because it was just a catastrophe. It was a movie that was so bad that was made just to retain the rights. So that guy was actually a producer on the first two movies. So it's Fantastic Four in itself is a very long history. So in August of 2009, after the once again poor but improved reaction to Silver Surfer and the diminishing box office receipts, Fox announced that they would be rebooting the Fantastic Four with Michael Green, who went on to write Logan and Blade Runner 2049, set to write the screenplay. However, in July 2012, Josh Trank was hired, and Jeremy Slater would write the screenplay instead. The project was then passed on to X-Men First Class writers, but eventually Trank decided that he would write it himself. Jeremy Slater's original idea had Galactus and Doom in it, with Doom being a spy turned herald of the Galactus, and then the dictator of Latveria. And Slater wanted to use the Avengers as a template for his Fantastic Four film. Which, fine, okay, gather everybody up. However, Trank hated the comic book genre and wanted to do his own thing. Slater and Trank's ideas were so totally different, Trank left Slater out of Fox meetings and withheld notes from the studio from him. Eventually, Slater quit. Trank was going for a tone of a Tim Burton meets Spielberg. I don't think
Swing and a miss.
Yeah, big time. In 2013, Matthew Vaughn was attached to produce, and he was like, I'm out of here. In October 2013, Simon Kinberg, one of the many X-Men films writers, was assigned to be a co-producer and a co-writer. The movie was intended to take place in the X-Men universe, with Bryan Singer confirming that there had been discussions of a interstudio crossover. So I guess the First Class or Wolverine would have shown up at one point. Some of the people that auditioned for the role of Reed was Kit Harington, Richard Madden, and Jack O'Connell. Saoirse Ronan, Margot Robbie, and Emmy Rossum for the role of Sue. Michael B. Jordan was always Johnny. And the controversy around obviously casting an African-American to play Johnny Storm, who is traditionally in the comics white, was that Trank received death threats, and he said that this was a casting to bring it into the real-world demographics, and he also wanted to cast a black actress for the role of Sue to go along with the black Franklin Storm, his father, who probably is the best actor in the movie.
He's probably the best. Like, yeah, I agree with that. I was going to say the same thing.
But the studio really wanted to retain her ethnicity, so that's why. Like, who fucking cares? Jamie Bell was cast as Ben Grimm, and then Sam Riley, Eddie Redmayne, and Domhnall Gleeson all auditioned for the role of Doom.
Who's Domhnall Gleeson?
From he was in Star Wars, the new Star Wars, the ginger. He's oh
yeah,
I know who it is.
He's Mad Eye Moody's kid.
I know who it is. Yeah, that was.
Yeah,
I thought he was one of the Weasleys.
No.
Yeah.
He's not.
He's Bill. He's Bill Weasley.
Yeah, he's a Weasley.
And then Mads Mikkelsen was also auditioned for the role of Doom, but all the thing they asked him to do was to stretch his arms as far as he could. That was all they asked him to do.
What?
Yeah. So filming began in the summer of 2014, and then reshoots were planned in 2015 because the studio felt like it was a sequel to Trank's film Chronicle. Have you guys seen Chronicle?
When they're on the other planet, I can see that's like similar.
And matching that tone and vibe.
Chronicle's not bad. I just hate that it's like what Project X did, how it's like filmed from like handheld cameras the entire time. Yeah, it gets annoying.
So there's a big behind the scenes controversy with this movie is that Josh Trank. There's so many quotes from the actor saying that this isn't the movie that I signed on for, which I feel like is just what an actor does when the movie's bad.
Flops, yeah.
But they said we signed on for something different, and it turns out that the studio wasn't happy with Trank. There was a lot of arguments, and they were unsatisfied with his original cut of the film, so they went behind his back and made many major cuts to the final product, and they changed them in at certain major plot points. And
So that would make sense why this movie felt incredibly rushed.
How long
Sure.
are the first two? Not the first two, the original two.
hour and a half, about the same time.
Okay. Because, like, I feel like by 2015, most superhero movies cracked 2 hours.
Yeah, I feel like it was...
It's like the idea that this was 140, and now they're saying that they took a lot out. Doesn't
I
sound
don't
crazy.
I don't want this movie to be longer, but it seems like it's missing shit that would have made it better.
Yeah, and that's kind of what the studio was surprised by, the morose tone that the film took, and that they kind of had to hobble together and piece together an ending based on things from the script that were cut. Look, the movie's a piece of shit. It really is. It's terrible. But if this is true, do I care enough? Ultimately, this is the reason why
I don't want to see the long one. I'll tell you that much. It's like Justice League. We watched it, but I didn't
No, it
want
didn't
to
make
see
it. Didn't make it better.
And I mean, and ultimately, this is what led to it being back in the hands of Marvel. So, well, besides them buying Fox, but the rights reverted on this because of how bad this movie was. So, and apparently, Josh Trank was awful on the set, and that's why he got fired from. He was supposed to do a Star Wars movie after this, and he got fired from that pretty shortly after this movie came out. And then a sequel was planned 2 years later, before this one even hit theaters. Blah, 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 blah. A planned cameo of the Fantastic Four was planned for Deadpool 2. Didn't happen. And
of this Fantastic Four?
Yep.
Yeah.
And this was going to be their new
The sequel
franchise.
is already, like, ready. Not ready, but, like...
They had
already,
greenlit it.
locked in a
Yikes.
sequel.
And anyway, long story short, we don't get any of that, and they'll be showing up at the MCU next July.
Good.
So that's
Worked out for
all
the
I got
best.
to say about that. Those notes I did. And, hope everybody has a good night.
I drank the whole of that blue.
All right. So what we do with this is this isn't a typical review, step-by-step review. That's a little bit of the backstory of the production. Look, my enthusiasm is incredibly low for this, and it was much higher for Elektra, I guess maybe because I hadn't seen Elektra before, but I knew it was bad. I just don't know. I hate this movie. I hate this movie so much. I think it's... Well, I'll start because I had seen it first. I had always said when I saw it originally, first half hour isn't bad. There's makings of a movie, and then it completely falls apart once they get their powers. So that was my initial... I'll share my rewatch thoughts later, but you guys having seen this for the first time, what are some of your thoughts, Shane? I know that you loved it.
Yeah, it's my favorite movie ever.
Yeah, Shane has, like... I'm going to say copious amounts of notes. I know he probably has, like, 4 bullets, but he keeps talking about the notes that he made. So I'd like Shane to just run
I
down...
have 8. You want me to just read them all?
Yeah, I'd like you to just run down your notes. We're not going to go through the movie as a whole. We'll stop you if there's a scene that we also want to talk about.
That's
We'll just
probably more notes than the studio gave.
go off of Shane's notes.
That's fine. First one is about my favorite casting of the movie. Ben's brother, Chet Hanks. Chet gives us the classic
Really?
line, "It's clobbering time." Yep.
Yeah.
That's Hot Boy Summer, Chet Hanks.
Hot Boy Summer, Chet Hanks goes after him with a bat.
And then, yeah.
Nice. Did
And
not
then
know
I
that.
had
I'll
Sue-
tell you my favorite casting of the movie when we get to my notes.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
I wonder who it is.
It's a main star.
And then I have Sue, Dr. Doom over here.
I had that just quoted. I'm going to interrupt there because we'll just splice our notes now. Again, my note was Kate Mara's not a bad actress.
No, she's a very
she's
good
a very
actress.
good actress.
So, like, that means that it was, like, I wrote in my notes, I was like, someone chose to interpret Sue Storm this way.
Any scene,
which is, like, a wild choice.
any scene between her and Miles Teller, it seems like they're trying to read their lines as fast as possible.
like,
There's,
it's
like,
the
no chemistry at all. It
blandest
was awful.
acting I've ever seen.
She's good. He's terrible
he's-
in this movie.
No,
really
she's not
bad.
good.
I think she's
Go
fine.
back,
I think
watch
she's-
it a third time.
I'm not.
She's bad, right? and she's bad, and he's bad too.
I
Don't get me
think-
wrong. We had to save him, and that's fine. But she's bad, and here's my answer as to you saying she's good. Go to the final scene of the movie. I could probably pull it up right now.
Don't.
She doesn't look like she knows how to walk. She is not showing superpowers. They're walking into that room where they're like sitting on the balcony and they say their dumb line. She looks like she is like a deer, like learning how to walk. Because I went to myself, why the fuck is she walking like that?
I didn't know. I might have to go back and watch that now.
Yeah, I'll go find it. It's 2 seconds.
Mine-
She might have heels on, she might not. You can't figure it out. She just doesn't
They're
look
invisible. She
like
does.
she knows how to walk.
My notes were that the only people who tried were the Storm family.
I
And-
disagree. I
and
disagree with
think-
that. I don't think Sue tried because in other movies
think-
she's not that bad. I'm basing it off of what I've seen her
Yeah.
do otherwise.
Yeah, no, I agree.
But I think-
I did make a note that she was bad.
I think she is like, because she's a good actress. I think she is like, legitimately just bland, and like choosing to be. Like, hey, Sue is just a nerd, just
Real
like
vanilla.
Reed. She's gonna be like a dorky girl,
Yeah.
and just doesn't work. Next,
My turn
sorry,
again?
yeah,
Yeah,
Sue
next
took
turn.
over for a second there.
Johnny CGI destroying the drone looked like PS2 graphics.
That
had-
one didn't set me off. As
I had to
much. didn't
rewind.
even
I had to
notice.
rewind it and watch it again. It looked awful.
Johnny destroying the drone?
When he's,
Yeah, when they're,
he's
like,
flying around, he's
practicing.
training.
Oh,
He destroys a drone. It looks like it's a PS2 game. It's bad. Movie feels like it just got started and there's only 30 minutes left.
That's a good note.
All right. So
That's
here's
a good note.
the only thing that I want to do is my favorite casting, and I want to run down my end of the movie.
Oh, you know why she's flat? She's Russian.
She's faking her voice the whole time.
Oh, that stupid
That
Russian
scene's
accent
dumb.
she
I
does
was
for
so
one
scene.
scene.
dumb.
Dumb.
I'm looking through my notes
so
and I'm like,
bad.
she's Russian?
So I have, because same thing. 30 minutes left, and Ben in the military are the villains? Question mark. Reed is the bad guy? Question mark. And then from there on, it just went 20 minutes left, 18 minutes left, and so I just went down. For
The
the
whole
end of the movie.
climactic thing of Doom destroying the Earth is
It's 12 minutes. I
yeah,
think.
like
So let's talk about this. This is the big plot of the movie. So Reed's a kid and then just sends something somewhere. Right?
Yes.
Then when he grows up, a group of scientists send something somewhere as well. They also don't know where this thing is, but they both have somehow found this random fucking place that they haven't named.
I think it's just that whatever frequency they're doing this sending of things to
But they don't even explain
naturally
that.
goes to that place.
that's probably one of the scenes that they cut out. Them explaining it.
You're so right. My problem, I was watching this movie and I was like, it's just this place. They don't know what it is.
But first, and you can
Don't fucking defend
No,
this
no,
movie.
no.
Don't defend
No, I'm not. I'm not. But this is bad. This is bad podcasting. Cut here.
Sure.
Let's just watch her walk.
So Bob just we cut real quick. Bob just showed us Sue walking. It's terrible. Yeah, it looks like she doesn't know how to walk in heels.
It looks
ever.
like it's her first day with the new legs or something.
Yeah, it's like
And even, like,
she's
before
literally
that-
like
Awkward.
walking on her heels.
Before that, they're
Awkward.
like
Or ankles.
It's a front
It's the-
view.
yeah, it's
and
the end
she's
of the
got
movie.
like very like I'm gonna keep my shoulders perfectly straight
Like
as
her-
I walk.
Her shirt
like,
was too tight and she couldn't move her arms or
Her,
something.
everything was too tight. It seemed, yeah, like she walked like she had like invisible lat syndrome for a second there.
I want to bring up my point that I've been waiting to talk to you guys about.
Okay.
Doctor Doom looks like a fucking crash test dummy.
Yeah, he looks
Shit.
awful.
Yeah,
he
he
looks
does.
awful.
Terrible.
It's the worst. That's. I didn't even make a note about it. It's the worst part of the movie. It
It's
was like I just
awful.
wanted him to be good. My note: 21 minutes left. Shitty Doom has officially arrived and is more Vecna than Doom.
That's fair.
Dude, and you put Doom in a movie and he's Doom for like under 20 minutes and then gets disintegrated.
yeah.
Yes.
What a waste of a good character.
He would, but that wouldn't. If they had a
He
sequel, I
wasn't
guarantee
dead,
you he's
yeah,
not
for
dead.
sure.
Oh, it was terrible.
And is that the end of your notes?
I had one more.
Just how bad he looks? That was the biggest thing you wanted to talk about?
He does look like
He looks awful. He
I
looks-
couldn't wait. I wanted to text you
the
guys, but
crash
I'm like,
test
nah, I'll
dummy.
save
You
it.
could have.
I'll
It's the
save it.
crash test dummy comparison.
It looks
because it is
awful.
accurate.
Yeah, absolutely.
At one point, he
looks he does. He looks
says
fucking
to
awful.
Susan, he goes, "I saw a different future for us, Susan." Did they interact at all in the movie?
They have like a weird
little
dynamic.
bit, and like he's like, is Sue gonna be there, like a real creep?
Yeah.
And then he gets mad about it.
Well, yeah, I knew that.
And then
but
when
they
Aaron
didn't.
Reed-
They never say anything to each other.
Yeah, but you can see like
They
he
had
likes her.
they had a past. That's kind of
like
what
when
they
Reed
allude
and
to.
Sue were like talking, he's like, "Reed, come over here.
Yeah.
Like you're supposed to be working." He's like, "Oh yeah, we're done." Which I did like. That scene was like, I did enjoy that scene. I'm telling you, the first 40 minutes, I was like, "This isn't awful."
Until they get
This
their
isn't
powers.
Awful. So my remaining notes, as far as, and then I'm going to go back to the big reveal here. 18 minutes left. Awful Franklin Baxter's death scene. Just absolutely, just a massacre of a good character that you'd built.
For each other.
Yeah.
Or whatever the hell
Whatever
he
he
says.
says. All I could think of was Rogue One.
Save the rebellion!
Save the dream! Miles Teller at his worst before we fixed him was my next new. And then in the final, however much time there was at this point, they got two things right. But they didn't matter at that point. They got the "there is no victor, there is only doom" line. They crushed that.
Yeah, it's good.
That's you need that line
Yeah.
if you're gonna have doom. I liked that line. But at that point, I said, I don't fucking care. Like I literally was like, at least hey.
Yeah. Good.
So I was like Leonardo DiCaprio pointing at the screen, like, oh, at least they got something right with this line. They got something good. Then you go to the final scene, and they finally get the dynamic of like the team right, like the four of them, where it's like Ben and Reed, and then Johnny like kind of pokes the bear with Ben, knowing that he's a big galoop. So I forget exactly what they say, but Ben like gets mad at Johnny, and Reed's like, it's all right, buddy. Like I know you can take him. And I'm like, oh, all right. Like we're moving in the right direction. And then they hit us with that. What should we call ourselves? And,
Yeah.
and Ben, this is fantastic line.
Yeah.
And that's just fucking brutal. Like
Yeah.
a brutal way to end it.
I agree. I like that scene with Johnny and him because like that's the starting. It's a little mean on Johnny's part, but like
It's like,
that is the starting of their
they are,
dynamic.
though,
Yeah.
And also like the fact that like it's all military based is kind of weird to me.
Yeah.
And they come back from the planet and they're just immediately like, yeah, we'll go work for the military.
Exactly.
Yeah, no questions asked.
Yeah.
We'll do what we want.
Like, but that's whatever. Neither here nor there. Now the big reveal, the big thing that you guys didn't do your research on.
That you know of.
If you know this, then I'll drink this Busch Light because you might, and I don't want to eat another shoe. The guy who plays Doom,
Yeah.
Toby Kebbell.
Yep.
you-
I know exactly where this is going.
Also,
he looks very familiar, but I don't know what he's from.
he's Koba.
Koba.
Forgive me.
Oh, shit, he is
Forgive me.
Koba.
Koba.
Koba from Planet of the Apes.
Because we were watching, she's like, what has he been? Audrey was like, what has he been
I
in?
did the same thing.
And I was like, Planet of the Apes.
I didn't know it. Did you know it off the top of your head?
I knew it when I was rewatching the Planet of the Apes.
Okay, yeah. So I was like, I didn't know
So
it.
it was bothering me, but I didn't care enough about this movie to look it up.
I was like, this guy's got to be from something because you're not going to cast a nobody in the role of Doom. So I looked it up and then still didn't know him from anything. Start to scroll. I see Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. I was like, who the fuck was
Yeah,
saying Dawn of
Koba.
the Planet of the Apes? I see Koba. I was like, oh no.
Koba. Yeah, no, I mean, what'd you guys think of this?
Meh.
Meh.
Yeah.
Are you
man,
sad you watched it?
I wouldn't say sad because like I don't think it's one of those. It's like now I can say I saw the movie. Somebody talks about the 2017 Fantastic Four. I'd be like, I saw that trash. Yeah, I know
Yeah.
what you're talking about. But like, it was short enough where I didn't feel like I wasted a ton of my time.
Yeah, I was just gonna say it's under 2 hours, so I don't feel like I need that time back.
And also,
But
I was
I'm definitely never gonna rewatch it.
like genuinely interested
Yeah.
for 40 minutes.
Yeah.
So like, it's not like the whole thing stinks. It's just it gets so bad so fast that it's like
Yeah.
borderline impressive.
A downward spiral quickly.
I think it honestly could have benefited from being a little longer if they didn't cut so much out.
I don't know because once it goes off the rails, like everything's bad.
I don't know. It
So I
just
don't know
felt-
if they extend it, that could just be more bad.
It just felt bored. I was just bored.
That was my thing. I was bored. So I'm okay with interpretation of characters because that's how a lot of comic books work. But it feels like this. They just plucked the characters' names and put them in and like, okay, you're smart. This, that. And it just felt like it wasn't. There's a reason. Look, I'm all for interpretation, but there's a reason why the source material is there. You draw inspiration from it. And it's just like it just felt like the original Fantastic Four movies went a little bit too camp, but I like them because to me that's what Fantastic Four is, very campy. Where this one, it was like, we're going to do the complete opposite. We're going to be super serious. Dark, no humor. As we talked earlier, I don't think anybody really did a particularly great job.
I just don't think I don't think that any of them cared about the source material.
I don't think so
I think
either.
That they were all collecting. It felt like they were all collecting a paycheck.
Yeah, it felt like Miles Teller was reading like SNL cue cards. My one thing about Reed is I really like Reed Richards, and he's a dork, but he's not a dweeb. And Miles Teller played him like a dweeb. He also played him like he was in love with Ben. And him and Ben were in love. Like it just, if they would have went that route, I would have been like, not surprised.
Like the scene to get Ben into the
he's just drunk
shuttle.
calls him.
It's like, I'm not going without him. Like, you haven't talked to this dude in fucking a year.
Yeah. He's partying with Chet. Leave him alone.
Yeah.
What I think was also funny in the beginning, I'm just running through some of my notes now. When Reed, as a kid, transports that thing, he screams now, but he's the one that needs to push the button, so he didn't. So he didn't need to say anything. As we talked about earlier, okay, Doctor Doom, like they allude to everything.
Yeah.
Johnny's got a little Mario fire guy in his car. They didn't really allude to any of the stretching things with Reed.
When they were in the machine and like they started to get hit with the energy and like
the bunch of rocks,
rocks were like sucked in. I was like, "Fuck you."
I liked the beginning too, like when you're talking about like their dynamic though. Not to say that like they played them as in love when they were first doing like the science fair thing. Like that scene was good.
I liked it, but they look like grown men.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, they were not in high school.
And then why is Storm Industries or whatever parading around this?
But
this
regardless, like
campus.
when they're like testing it and it doesn't go right, it's like you were pushing it too hard. You can't push it that hard.
And then he was like, "Sorry about your playing."
Or like, yeah, where's the toy car? I didn't bring the toy car. You were supposed to bring, I brought everything else.
But yeah, they do look like grown men, and they took like a 6-year-old's model
like,
airplane.
It's, okay, spent this belief they're in high school. Okay, fine, whatever.
And there was a couple lines there, like Victor shows up. And he's like, "What they won the science fair?" And he's like, "Well, actually, the volcano took first place.
The potato gun.
Yeah, we got disqualified. The potato gun took first place."
Yeah, I just
there were parts where I was like, "All right, that's good." Like there's moments.
I hated that the suits were how they controlled their powers. That they couldn't control them.
Yeah, it wasn't.
That's
organic.
stupid. The movie just didn't have the heart of the Fantastic Four. It doesn't need humor.
It didn't
all the
have
time.
any heart.
Yeah,
if you're being 100%.
It had none. When they go to the other planet, it looks like absolute dog shit. When Victor gets hit, it looks awful. The rocks are bad. Looks awful. Also, poor monkey. What the fuck?
Just that dude.
Caesar didn't sign up for anything.
Do you think the actor playing Doom did the motion capture for that?
I think so. He was suited for it. Both Fox movies. Them secretly going when they're not supposed to. That's comic accurate. That is how they get their powers because somebody else is going to take their thing. So it's cool with that. Johnny basically died when Ben was getting pelted with rocks. Johnny's like they went for the horror aspect of what this would do to your body, and I understand that, but
yeah, they lit Johnny on fire.
Yeah, and then the stuff with Ben, stuff with Reed, like it was bad.
I hate this movie, but it was kind of cool how like Reed's crawling over to Ben and then he looks back and his legs are like long as shit, and he wakes up and his arms are all stretched out. Because like, correct me if I'm wrong, but doesn't he have to like consciously like keep himself together?
Yeah.
So like that's his natural form, right? Like he wants to like his body's all stretched out and he has to like consciously keep himself together.
I believe so.
Cool.
All right. So yeah, no, I just think that this is a poor attempt at a blockbuster. I think it's a poor attempt at a superhero film. I think it's a horrible attempt at the Fantastic Four. I'm fine with what they went in the beginning. It's not what I liked, but that had potential and that it just, as soon as they get their powers, most of the time when a movie gets their powers, the movie gets better. This movie gets worse. So
that's the problem.
That was always my interpretation of it when I saw it, and I stand by it, and I think it's worse. I think it's boring. However, I do not think it's as bad as Elektra. I gave Elektra a half star. I gave this 1 star.
I think I gave this 1.5 stars. So, same.
Shane?
Half a star.
Yeah.
Yeah, boo.
Boo.
Go watch Electra, dude. You're an idiot.
Yeah, you gotta watch Electra.
And that's literally what I looked at. So I gave Electra a half a star. Madam Web, I gave 1 star. And I'm like, this was not worse than either of them. Because Madam Web stinks.
Yeah, it's
Start to finish. Electra stinks start to finish. So the fact that this had a 40-minute sequence, I said, all right, fuck it.
So are you guys happy you watched it, or yes or no? I think I already asked.
Yeah,
this.
we did.
Sorry.
My question for you, and then we'll wrap this up. You've seen all these films so far.
Yes.
Bottom of the barrel, where does this rank?
2.
2. Electra, then this, then...
Then Fantastic Four. Oh, X-Men Origins.
Okay. All right.
Fuck that movie. That movie's awful. But yeah, so we did it. There's not really much else to say about this movie. Just kind of continuing along with it. By this point, Deadpool and Wolverine would already have been out, but it would be funny if they showed up. If anybody, it would be The Thing. I actually think The Thing looks, for a CGI thing, it doesn't look what I would like, but for what the body horrors that they were going for, I actually think the CGI looks pretty good on it.
It's not awful.
For a movie full of bad CGI, his CGI looks pretty good.
I definitely prefer the practical look of the other movie, but
Yeah, because the
It's
practical
fine.
look fits the comic books
Yes.
like very well.
it's fine, I guess.
Reed's some of the action scenes with Reed I thought were better in this than in the original too, like with some of that stuff. But
As they should be 8 years later, or whatever it was.
yeah, out of all the movies that you've watched, Bob, where is this rank? In the bottom, like you just asked
2.
me.
Yeah, it's Electra, this, Daredevil.
Yeah,
I
'cause
think. I
you've
think Daredevil was my lowest one out of the ones I've watched.
Really, over Elektra?
No, I mean the next lowest. No, it's
Gotcha,
Electra,
gotcha.
Fantastic Four, then Daredevil. I think, but I gotta think back into all the ones I actually have watched. But
Yeah,
I don't
'cause
think any of the other ones were as bad.
You've watched about 85 to 90% of the
And
movies.
the
we've done.
X-Men's, the Deadpools.
Yeah,
I didn't do any of the newer X-Men movies. So
Yeah.
I'm not saying when they aren't too bad. But I didn't do X-Men Origins either, so that
Yeah.
kind of fits.
and then I did the Wolverine solo. So,
Yeah.
and
Okay.
Shane, of the 2 movies that you've watched for the show,
This is the last. X2 is definitely better than this movie.
well, hopefully the next one you guys are on, it's much better than this. Anything to plug before we go, guys? Or add about this movie before we go?
Anything that's not Fantastic Four, I'm plugging. At this point.
The Boys is really good this season, so watch that.
It should be coming to an end by the time you hear this. And then just go read some Fantastic Four comics. Go get some new stuff. Get ready for the new movie directed by Matt
Read
Shackman.
comics in general.
Yeah, read comics
Yeah,
in general.
support
Absolutely.
your local comic book stores.
They need the help. They really, really do. If you love all this stuff, go support the stores that help us get it. But thank you guys for joining me. Thank you for being fantastic. And thank you for watching Fan4 Stick. Remember, check out the Redbubble store and T Public stores. Rate, like, and subscribe. And follow us on all social medias. Say bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
Wait, I thought we were supposed to watch the Fantastic Mr. Fox. I think we were talking about different movies.
Kate Mara's in that too?
Yeah, she is. She walks funny.
Being bad.
Bye.
Bye.